Welcome to The View from Centercourt weekly here with Frank Wolf and Chad Andrews, Tim Gardner producing. Empire Electric, Tony Pulverenti, our major sponsor for this show. Thank you very much. Also, O'Brien Ford for the work you guys do for us to help us do our streams and so on and so forth. So thank you to all you guys that make this happen. We appreciate it. I'm sitting across from Chad Andrews, who had a full feature story on him this past week by Clevis Murray of the Buffalo News. And before you start talking, I want to take a few seconds to talk about that article. If you didn't see it, it's still up on buffalonews.com. I got a chance to read through it. I think I saw it on Monday. Did I read it on Monday? Might have been out Sunday, but Monday is when I actually read
maybe
it.
Tuesday.
It was on Monday.
Yeah.
With me.
Okay.
You said not to talk until I'm done. You're already talking.
Excuse me. You asked me a question.
Chad and I are arguing this morning. We argued before he got here and we started arguing just minutes leading up to the show. So we're hostile. But anyways, no, all seriousness. He did a great job. And I know that in the past there were articles written about the Centercourt Classic, at least one that I'm familiar with, maybe two. But Clevis didn't necessarily talk a lot about the Centercourt Classic. Obviously, he mentioned it, but you sat with him for 2 straight days, I believe. Most of his article went on to say what you've been doing for 2 decades. Let me say that again. Chad has been out pumping, pimping boys basketball for 2 decades, writing articles, traveling the state, not just Western New York, the entire state, talking about boys high school basketball. And everybody knows this. Anybody else that comes after you is an imitator. God bless them. We need more Chads out there. We need more people bringing to light and providing content for these athletes. Full disclosure. WNY Athletics has been around for 10 years doing it for all sports. You've been around for 2 decades doing just boys basketball, and you do a fantastic job. So I wanted to, the article that Clevis did hit the nail on the head, and it really drives home the point that you have been sacrificing a lot of time, your own personal time, away from your family just to provide coverage for boys basketball. And you are everywhere. You're up in the North Towns. You're obviously from Niagara County, but you're in the city of Buffalo. You're in the suburbs. You're in Chautauqua and Cattaraugus County. You've probably been in that Jamestown gym more than a lot of their players. That's how many times you've been down there. So I'm giving you all the flowers today. Thanks to Clevis for reminding us in the Western New York community the sacrifices that you make. I am kissing your ass, Chad, right now. I thank you for the work that you do. It's unparalleled. You've been doing videos, interviews, stories, rankings, random smatterings for as long as I know. Continue to do what you do. And again, everybody else is just an imitator. Welcome to the show.
I could talk now?
No. I also want to send a huge shout out to George Benson, who I saw a few times this week. I love George.
GB?
Absolutely love George. Me and him sat almost next to each other at the Dunkirk Veronia game on Tuesday. First person I saw when I walked in. Love George.
So, thank you. Thank you for that intro. It's quite an intro. Thank you to Clevis Murray for the article. I really was not expecting all that. You know, he was asking me some questions over the weekend, and he's become a friend of mine. And it was an easy conversation, always easy to talk with him. But I wake up and I got 11 text messages. And when you see that, you're like, okay, something's going on, and I hope it's nothing terrible. Like, I hope my day's not starting out bad. You just don't know what you're going to see when you see 11 texts.
Yeah.
But I don't wake up to 11 texts. So it was that. It was a lot of people sending me the article, and that was nice. It is flattering, you know, to read that. It's very much appreciated at a time like when someone's blowing that much smoke at you or greasing you up that much, you almost feel a little like, I don't know if I'm really deserving that, but I appreciate it, you know. What I would say to everything you said is, which I've always done, Keith McShane deserves so much credit for what I do because he inspired me, along with boys high school basketball. Keith's coverage of high school basketball back in the day inspired me to want to contribute to what he did. and I did. And then he would always kind of be a champion of mine and say, "You need your own thing. For what you do, you need to have your own thing." And so it just took on a life of its own that way. But
yeah,
thanks.
and Keith inspired WNY athletics from afar. I mean, I remember.
I know he
I've
did.
said this a million times when I was living down in Annapolis, Maryland. The only reason, or the only way I could stay connected is through Keith McShane, the work that he did. Obviously, I knew about the Post Journal and other things, but Keith just took everything to another level, and that's why WNY Athletics is here today, because Keith, gave up his role at the Buffalo News. It wasn't the same once Keith left. We're just trying to pick up where he left off, and one day, who knows? Maybe Keith will be a part of all this again. Love it.
Yeah, that would be great if he was. I mean, Keith did so much. Like, he used to have he had to have a chat, like a live chat that he would do. He had his prep talk, which he took to another level. Keith was instrumental in founding that banquet that went from 2011. Yeah, 2011 to 2019.
Again, the banquet had been going on for years. There was the break after COVID.
Right.
And we are reviving that, and we've been talking about reviving that with Larry Jones, the chairman. Usually you want to involve the chairman from the various leagues when you start talking about doing stuff. Yeah, we have emails with Pete Schneider, Larry Jones, Chris Durr to do the boys and girls basketball banquet conjointly this year, reviving that because, again, it's been done before for years. COVID screwed everything up. Once
COVID did screw everything up. I know. I had a whole series. I had years of pictures, in a suit and tie with the player of the year and, the coach of the year. It'd stand up at Ilio's.
Yeah.
That's where the banquet was then.
And there's a right way to do things and the wrong way. Dick Gallagher gave us the torch to do the football banquet. He said, Wolf, Prince.
And Dick was the one that inspired
Yes.
Keith to want to bring it to basketball,
Yes.
which he did.
Yes.
And then Keith brought me and brought Larry Jones in. We used to go to Chef's back in the day and sit down and have meetings there, and so
we're going to go to Fat Man's Pizza and discuss the banquet. By the way, they got a little place for us, just waiting for us. But anyways, yes, the basketball banquet wasn't ours, right? And I don't like to step on toes, but reaching out to the various chairmen over the years and saying, "Hey, we want to do something," and not exactly being told you can't do it. I think they were waiting for us to say, okay, go do it. Like, you don't need our permission necessarily. It's nice to be included. But, we do baseball, we do softball because they weren't done. You're
doing a hockey one.
We're doing a hockey one because that wasn't done. So, we've talked about doing the hockey one for years. I went to the hockey meeting in November and talked to all the coaches and said, look, this is what we're going to do this year. Either you're all on board with us or you're not, but we're going to do this banquet either way. We're going to invite your top players, your coach of the year, and various other awards. We're going to invite them. So either you can get behind us or not. We don't care. We're doing this because that's just the way it is. Like, we're here to...
Question for you. Yeah. With the Conley Cup, because I'm not aware of this, how much did COVID take the Conley Cup banquet down?
I think 1 year we lost.
Just 1 year? And that's great because the Conley Cup, because that committee existed, that's what really kept people coming back to that, even when COVID kind of wrecked the world and made everybody forget about what they ever.
Yeah.
But
so talking with you, since the beginning of the year, we said, hey, this is something we want to do. So kind of plant the seed, if you will, with the coaches, and I'll talk to Larry Jones and Chris Durr, the various chairmen for boys and girls, and Pete Schneider, and we'll come up with a game plan. But we do have a date. We actually had a date scheduled months ago. We had the venue. The Riverworks, we had been talking to them for the last couple of months for hockey and basketball. So we have our dates. Hockey will be March 23rd. Boys will be, and girls basketball will be March 24th, Tuesday. So that the groundwork was done. The announcement came this week. We could have announced this last week. We could have announced it 2 weeks ago, but we don't have all of our ducks in a row. All of our dots weren't all the I's weren't dotted, T's weren't crossed, so on and so forth. But we are going to be working out all the awards and things of that nature. But we have the venue, we have the date, we have the time. Boys and girls basketball. It's going to be open to the public, Riverworks can seat up to 800 people. It's going to be a huge stage. These kids will be honored in ways that they haven't been in years. And we're just looking forward to really finally getting this off the ground and getting it going. And it's going to be an annual event, and it's going to be huge. And who's going to benefit? The kids. No egos. Check your ego at the door. This is all about the kids.
Yeah, buddy.
Top 20, baby.
Okay, we could do a top 20. And I think one thing I didn't say that we should talk about, we'll touch on it, but just the classic. We'll
That's coming up.
We'll take a look at it. It was a good weekend.
Did that happen?
It did. I mean, that's what I mean. Life's been a blur.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I want to say about that classic too.
But okay.
Top 20.
Top 20. Drum it.
We're going 20 to 11, folks.
All right. No, so number 20 this week. A little reordering in the top 20. We finally had some shakeups. I don't think we did one last week, did we, Tim?
We didn't because there weren't that many games.
There hadn't been games. There have been cancellations. Yeah. So we've had makeup games. We've had some action yet. We've had some shakeups. We got number 20. It's the McKinley Max. So what I did is I took a good look at everybody's thing in there, and I just noted what I thought their top win was on the season. So McKinley, I think, has lost 3 of their last 5. Not really bad losses in there. Just that's how it's shook out with the scheduling.
But not a bad loss.
It's not. That's what I'm saying. Best win on the season, Williamsville East. Williamsville East, not a top 20 team. That's McKinley's best win. So I got them at number 20. At number 19, Bishop Timon. Best win on the season, December victory over South Park. Timon, another team, they've got up and down season. We got them sitting 19 right now. Number 18 is Newport, a team that slipped a little back in the rankings. Their best win on the season is Timon. They've had a nice win over North Tonawanda in league play. They beat Lockport earlier in the season in league play. Knocked off undefeated Wilson at the Classic. We know Newport's a good basketball team. We got them sitting 18. Number 17, Dunkirk. They've been in there already. They have now officially swept Fredonia. Now, they did lose to Olean. But Olean's got enough of a resume of up and down this year that they're not a consideration right now for the top 20. Dunkirk, being able to sweep a good Fredonia team and the way they did it, they deserve to stay in these rankings right now. So number 17. Number 16, crash in the rankings, as other teams made some room for them, is Iroquois. Now, Iroquois' best win on the season that I see is Hamburg. But Hamburg's not a bad team. Iroquois has the benefit of having a tremendous talent in Justice Kleitz and having had me there to see him play a couple times and to just speak on their behalf and say, that is a good basketball team. And
so you weren't at the game earlier in the week where it was like really tight. I think it was a Lakeshore game. It was like a 2 or 3 point game, maybe a 4 point game at half, and all of a sudden they exploded in the second half. And I think they ended up scoring like 103 points. George might have told me about this one.
Yeah. And I think Lakeshore got in the 80s. Yeah, it was a high-scoring game.
Yeah.
And those were probably the 2 best teams in league, so it was, if anyone was going to have it take a swing at Iroquois in league, it was going to be Lakeshore. I'm glad to see that was a good game at halftime, and Lakeshore pulled it out. Iroquois pulled it out in the second half. And they're electric. They can fire up some points fast.
Yeah, so tomorrow, Iroquois is on the road against West Seneca East. And there's a chance for Justice Kleitz to hit the 2,000-point plateau. How close is he? Do you know off the top of your head?
I could tell you.
I mean, he's within reach.
Yeah. And Justice, I think I told you that I think that he's going to break that tomorrow or reach that 2,000-point plateau tomorrow. So
I'm going
to find it right now.
We got a lot of guys that are doing their thing. Like I didn't get a chance to mention during, you mentioned Dunkirk coming in at 16 KV on Tell. Not only did he hit 1,500 points this past week, but he also became the all-time leading scorer in Dunkirk history this week. So in 2 games, he reached 2 milestones, and to do it at Fredonia was kind of cool.
I remember Adam Bennett telling me how good KV Tell was when he was a freshman at Dunkirk. And say, like, I know you're not going to get to a Dunkirk game, but they've got a couple players because Orcutt was a junior then, and KV was a freshman. And he's like, and Orcutt's the name everyone's hearing, but this freshman, and boy, was he right.
Yeah.
When just talking about the talent. So Justice Kleitz appears to be 26 points away. And he's averaging, well over 30. I think like 37, approximately there. 36.3. So good chance he's going to reach that milestone tomorrow, 2,000 Justice.
Cool. And they play at 11:30, something in the morning.
Yeah.
I think. Okay. Good luck. Good luck.
Nothing says get it over with quick like an 11:30 basketball.
He has all the records at Iroquois. He will have all the records at Iroquois.
All right. Back
to
the 20. Excuse me. Number 15 is Kenmore West.
14.
I got him at 15.
You do?
Yeah. So number 15 is Kenmore
No.
West. Best win this season was against Lockport. Number 14, Lockport. Their best win on the season, probably Kenmore West. Lockport has the more recent victory in that series, so that's how Lockport edges the 14 spot over Mr. Ken West. Number 13, Sweet Home. You know Sweet Home's best victory this season was? Ken West. Hey.
It wasn't Lancaster?
No, because Lancaster's not appearing in this top 20, and Ken West is.
Okay.
Lancaster is.
I know, but still, our AAA team.
They got swept by Clarence in league play, and they're sitting now behind Clarence.
Okay.
So, number 12, St. Francis. Their best win on the season was a good one. It was St. Mary's. Like to see St. Francis pull out another signature victory here.
I think they would too.
I think they would too. And then number 11, South Park.
Yeah.
South Park's on the rise. They took the season series against McKinley. They are in a good spot. Second place in the Yale Cup 1. Firm control of that. And should be in good shape in those A1 sectionals. It's them, it's Grand Island, it's Newport, it's Dunkirk, but they're a very relevant team in sectional play in A1.
Yeah.
So that's your top. That's your top 11 through 20. You already know the top 10, which should be sitting there on the website.
View from Centercourt.
If I'm ripping it off the top of my head, I think it currently reflects Health Sciences would be 1. It would say Joe's is 2, Canisius 3, Nichols 4, Falls 5, St. Mary's 6. It would say Orchard Park is 7, Jamestown 8, Grand Island 9, and North 10. That will change a little bit, obviously, with some results this week, but those are the 10 teams that I didn't just mention that would be sitting in that top 10.
Okay. I like it. Let's talk about the Centercourt Classic.
Okay.
Can we get into that? I know we have a couple other things on the agenda, but
yeah,
the Centercourt Classic, I thought attendance was great.
It was really nice on the night session.
Yeah, they filled up. Good crowd for the Joes, Orchard Park, which is what you would expect.
Yep.
I thought the Rowdies would be a little louder. I thought we'd see a little bit more of them. I thought
Frank's calling out the Rowdies.
Guys, there was a
Find
two
your
dozen,
voice. Find your voice.
2 dozen, but I thought there should have been 3-4 dozen more Rowdies there. So they played Canisius this week, right?
It's Tuesday night, but
Centercourt.
they got to go to Delaware to do it.
Yeah, so hopefully they'll show up for that game. I didn't really see a lot of Blue Crew though during the Canisius game, or am I just blind and deaf?
No, there wasn't a big Blue Crew.
Didn't see a lot of Blue Crew.
I mean, hey, spots were hard to come by in that night session.
Maybe
they were left out in the cold.
They didn't like going to school unless they really have to.
Maybe so. I thought the game that the Nichols Jamestown game, that was an epic comeback by Nichols down 18, and they made a game out of it quickly in the third quarter. The game that probably the most competitive all the way through was Wilson-Newport, game 2 of the afternoon session on Saturday. So once again, the Centercourt Classic game with a small school in it kind of steals the show of the whole thing. But
I will say the only thing about the 7 games, I thought the student section from Newport was a little over the top.
They were having fun.
They were having fun. Some of the banter was a little outside my comfort zone. I wish someone from the Newport, whoever was in charge, the chauffeur or whatever, what do they call it? What do they call those guys? They should have gotten out
Site
in that section.
supervisor.
They made it personal against some of those Wilson kids. And, yeah, I do like Wilson. I love Newport, too. I love when they win. And they got so many good players there. Some of the best shooters in Western New York are in Newport.
Yeah.
The two brothers there, the two kids.
The Barnwells and Mike Wilkie.
They were fun
They
to
can
watch.
fill that room up from outside.
I just thought they were over the top. They made it personal against some of the kids at Wilson.
That's how you get in their head.
Yeah, some of the things they said were some of the worst things I've heard.
Some mean things.
Very mean things.
All right. Mean-spirited.
Do better. Just do better. Anyways, that was the one thing that I didn't like. What a fantastic game. What a fantastic game, though.
Between Wilson and Newport,
Yes.
so competitive.
Was it the game of the year?
No, I wouldn't say.
It's in the conversation.
Yeah, one of the better games I've seen this year.
That was a great game. Hats off to those coaching staffs and the players. They balled for 4 quarters. Wilson was down by double digits.
Wilson was down. It was looking bleak, and then they came back. They took a lead. They had the ball with 12 seconds left, and they were inbounding, and they turned it over. Wilson gave the game away. They had a chance to. They came all the way back and had a chance to win it, and they didn't. And
okay,
so credit to Newport for
to me
making that play.
Watching Newport close that game out is huge. It will make them even better if they get to Buff State, to be able to have a nice lead, lose it, but still be able to close that one out. The pressure at the end was ridiculous. The way that they guarded those players so that they couldn't inbound the ball.
Agreed.
Newport, those guys were awesome. And that was the first time I got a chance to see Newport up close and personal this year at live. Relentless.
You know who was a great game for it, too, is Wilson. Wilson needed to lose
absolutely.
The game,
Yes.
15-0, and we got a hold of a Newport team that they take the court, they look like a small school.
Yeah.
If Newport was a small school, they might be the number 1 ranked small school in Western New York. They probably would be.
Yeah.
But they're not. They're a large school. But it was a great game for Wilson to lose and a great game for them to go compete in.
Yeah.
Quickly put that behind them. It certainly could help Newport moving forward. It didn't last night at Lockport. Lockport came out and jumped up on them.
That was not a major surprise for me, but still had to raise an eyebrow there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Newport took round 1.
I also really enjoyed. I love watching Carlos on the sideline. Not for
he was
everybody.
He was all sorts of entertaining.
Oh my God, we cannot.
Sometimes he's just angry and really bitter and like
if he's
he wasn't. No, he was. It was almost like he was taking it in stride at the Classic. Everything that was happening.
If I could live stream Carlos and Ty Parker, I would. Yeah. I would have a camera on them the whole time, mic them up. But with Carlos, it'd be beep, 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 beep,
Well, when they played at Villa, it was entertaining as always. It'll be entertaining again if that matchup happens at Buff State. Right now, looks like a Niagara Falls Jamestown semifinal for the right to get to the Health Sciences Lancaster winner. So we'll see.
But those two guys, hilarious.
Yeah,
hilarious. They get the best out of their guys, I think. For the most part, they get the best. They get the best out of their players.
I think people realize how deep Niagara Falls is.
Deep.
Super. They got guys, and they got guys. They got. I was thinking about it last night. There's a couple starters, a couple guys who would probably be starters on this team right now that aren't even playing right now. Like one didn't come out, another one whatever issue, but that's how deep Niagara Falls is.
No, you said last week.
When I went to the McKinley game, it's like, oh, we're starting some new players today, and then they win big. So that's Niagara Falls.
They could have 2 or 3 teams in that school competing at the AAA level and competing for a sectional title.
Yeah.
I was very impressed with Health.
I was very impressed with I was very impressed with Health too. They were down for a little bit to start the game, and once they took control, got some momentum going, that was it. Too much athleticism, too much talent on the floor. It was a little similar of when I watched Canisius lose to St. Joe's the
Okay.
first time around, and I'm expecting to see a much different game the second time. But it was a game where I would describe the victory as thorough. I described the St. Joe's victory over Canisius round 1, and I would describe the Health victory over Canisius. It was thorough.
Moya though. Health has players like they're deep too.
It's a very deep. I mean, Moya had
He had a
29 in the game.
Yes.
He was steady
Who had the
Eddie.
dunk?
That was Isaiah Guerrero.
Oh, that was nice.
It was.
That was nice. That was a key moment. Was that the only dunk of the weekend?
The only dunk of the weekend.
The only one. Yeah.
No, it wasn't. There was another one.
In the Nichols game, no.
It might have been Sabluski.
See, I missed the start of the St. Mary's game.
These
way.
weekends become a blur. So I was really impressed with St. Mary's at my classic. How about
That was a physical game.
And it was.
I came in, there was 3 kids with bloody noses.
Bunch of cotton packed up noses and bodies on the floor. St. Mary's is playing some defense this year. I mean, that's why they beat Akron. Compared to last year when I went and watched that game in Akron, and Darren Brooks is taking the ball. He's catching the ball in the high post and doing anything he wanted. Akron was having trouble getting the ball to the high post and this rematch. So nice to see St. Mary's recognize the talent they have and recognize that talent alone doesn't win and that it's going to come from them or it's not. And it always starts the defensive end. They were jumping every pass. Like that second pass, they were jumping it and taking it the other way. They had so many runouts.
Yeah, I think Frank did a great job coaching overall.
I do too.
Yeah.
And it was nice hearing Frank's comments, after the Classic, talking about that he played in the first Classic. Frank was a senior at St. Mary's for the inaugural Centercourt Classic, and now he's coaching in it. And I think it was in the Buffalo News article that was written that he said that he remembers being in middle school and refreshing my site, to wait and see the new updates come up. So that was neat to see.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great overall weekend, though. Highly successful. St. Joe's did a great job for you.
Yep. Nice performance by Harlem Brannon on Friday night.
That was a good
over
Harlem,
Williamsville South.
and he got he became the all-time leading scorer at Kenmore West this past week in a game which they lost against Grand Island, but he did it on his home court, so that was cool. It was recognized.
All-time leading scorer, all-time leader in steals at the school. So and there's some history of Kenmore West. There's some good basketball players. Just the legend of Gary Bossert alone. So
there's 2 Bosserts, I believe, on that board.
Yeah.
So yes.
So he takes his rightful place at the top of the leaderboard and of the scoring leaders, and he's got the assist or the steals leader. And now what we need Harlem to do is say, now we got to win something. Let's take Kenmore West and go grab a AA title.
Yeah.
Let's finish this season strong. Because you can have all the individual accolades you want, but nothing feels better than when your team's there to celebrate.
Yeah, there was a couple guys there from Kenmore West outside of Brandon that he can lean on. The Noe kid had a couple of threes early in that game. Avon Jackson was a nice piece.
James Robertson has been playing very well for them.
Okay.
Philip Caparasso.
Okay. Good luck to them the rest of the way. So that was your first game. It was Ken West, Will South. Ken West did a good job, won that game. St. Joe's did very well against Orchard Park. Orchard Park staged a late comeback to make it a little interesting.
Yeah, I thought that Orchard Park competed in that game the whole way through. Like, I watched Orchard Park against Jamestown on Wednesday night. That was our Centercourt game of the week. And the margins of victory for Jamestown and St. Joe's might have been the same in those 2 games. But I thought Orchard Park played a much better game in the Centercourt Classic against St. Joe's than I saw them play against Jamestown the other night. I thought that Orchard Park competed.
I thought the team that came out of the locker room in the second half was much better than the first team I saw in the first half, Orchard Park speaking. Whatever Frankowiak said in the locker room resonated because that was a different team that came out in the second half.
Yeah.
Not that the first half was lousy for Orchard Park. I'm not saying that, but the second half team looked a lot.
Yeah. OP hasn't seen a team as athletic and as talented as St. Joe's yet this year.
Okay.
And so they saw it, and I think that game speed, the type of game speed that J.J. Shanklin is bringing to you with the basketball in his hands and the way that Joe's runs the floor with Jazzy and Liam and Luke and Gary and J.J., I mean, that's a talented team. I think it just takes a little time to settle into it. You're on the road. You know, I know you didn't like the effort you got out of the Rowdies, but there was some energy in that building, right?
Sure.
You're playing in a Monsignor Martin gym. It's an event. There's a little hype, so it might take you a little bit to settle into that game. And
the 2 dozen or so Rowdies that were there sounded like 3 or 4 dozen. I'll say that. That was Friday. Saturday, I was late for your St. Mary's game. Like we already talked about, it was a bloodbath.
Yeah.
It was cool, though. Wilson, Newport, the game of the weekend. And the next game was Niagara Falls taking on
Timon.
Timon showed up.
They sure did.
That is not the Timon team I saw
sure
against
did.
St. Joe's. Now, granted, they got a kid back. Number 25, I think, maybe. I don't know what his name was. Help me out. Who was the kid that came back for Timon that day? Jason?
Jason Huff?
Jason, maybe. Somebody was missing from the Joe's game. Somebody had just came back.
I don't know. I wasn't at the Joe's game to know who they were missing, but I was pleased with the effort that we saw at a time, and I thought they came to compete. They had a good game plan. They played hard. They kept the game close throughout. They made Niagara Falls earn that victory.
I'll tell you, the kid's going to bug me, and I feel bad. I couldn't remember the kid's name, so I apologize to my to the folks out there. They got South Park tonight. Timon?
Yeah,
I don't know. And Sarah, Joey and Sarah.
Okay.
Yeah, he stood out to me.
Yes. Joey's a good
Definitely
player.
was a kid that
Senior.
was missing.
3-year starter for him.
But I think I told you and anyone else that would listen that I thought Niagara Falls could win this game by 20, 30 points. And it wasn't.
Right. On paper, that game didn't look like it was going to be the game that
Based on previous time and performances this year.
And when you put the game together, there's a player that transferred out of time, and there's another one that moved away. There's two more people that I thought might be in time and starting lineup that weren't even on the team when school started this year. So, but anyway, we should probably take a break and then come back strong, finish the show off with a few topics, and
let's do it.
Get producer Tim out of here because he's got business to do today.
Here's a word from our sponsor.
Need an electrician? Empire Electric is your residential wiring specialist. New builds, service upgrades, lighting, generators, you name it, Empire does it with hundreds of 5-star reviews that speak for themselves. Call Empire Electric today for your free estimate.
I choose this MOS because I like to work on things, have hands-on.
Tracker is very important to the Army because it's a very versatile and just modular platform. There's several different variants, and that allows this one vehicle to do several different missions, and it's very important to support just the light infantry and their mission.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA, with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics.
Or an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs. More information about our Buffalo office is available at logisticsplus.com/Buffalo.
explore your next idea. Blaze new trails. Imagine new ways to do things. What will you do next?
At Richmond Vona, we are seriously dedicated to bettering the communities that we serve. If you put your trust in us and hire us, we promise to take care of everything. Call us as soon as possible so we can start the investigation to fight to get you the settlement you deserve.
Welcome back to Centercourt Weekly here on WNY Athletics. It's our 10th episode of the year. We did what, 10, 15 last year? 10, 12 last year?
9 or 10.
9 or 10? All right. My math's off, as you can tell. But episode 10, we're going to break in with talking about, you wanted to talk about the top 3-point shooters in Western New York, who we thought were.
Well, so I wanted to just, I see where Kobe Jenko's at, which is he's just blistering with the 3-pointers, and he's got a chance to go for 1,000 tonight, too.
Lakeshore? Where's he from? Jenko?
Eden.
Eden, way off.
Yeah.
Actually, I wasn't.
You're not that far off.
Eden Lakeshore is, they're in the backyard.
So, yeah, it got me, with all the 3-pointer Kobe Jenko was making, it got me thinking about who's the best 3-point shooter in Western New York, or, who are those guys? And I think Kobe probably should be considered the best 3-point shooter in Western New York for a couple reasons. He makes them in an alarming clip. He has since he was in 7th grade. He had over 50 3-pointers as a 7th grader. At this point, he's facing a box every time out, and there are no easy shots for him. When I watched him against Tapestry, I saw how hard he's working just to get those shots, the range he has when he's getting those shots, and then you couple all that with the number of shots he's made, and I don't know if I could think of a better 3-point shooter in the area than that young man. And then if you took him out of Eden and you plunked him on a Monsignor Martin roster, he's a major contributor.
Yes.
Absolutely. So,
because you can't double team.
Yeah. So that would, a guy who I have seen make a lot of threes this year, and maybe no one would think to throw him in that conversation of the best 3-point shooters, is Kavion Tell from Dunkirk. Maybe because it's such an unorthodox looking release, and he's not a catch and shoot guy. He's I'll step into this shot right over the defense you think you're bringing my way and bang it in your face.
I can attest. I've seen him play 3-4 live games and a number on. Yeah, he's legit.
Another one who gets a lot of 3-point shots off over the defense and makes them at a high rate is Aiden Newman at Wilson. You mentioned
once he gets going.
Yeah.
Once he gets going, yeah.
You mentioned the Barnwell brothers.
Yes. Hit a bunch of them on Saturday.
The Barnwell brothers, Mike Wilkie, they can all really shoot it. I think any of them. Charlie Croft from Lockport is he and him and Justice, you would put those two in the same class with the Kavion Tell of someone who they're not getting a lot of clean looks, but they can really lace them up. I watched Charlie drill one last night, and in Newport, I think might have come back and won that game if it's not for the 3 bangers that Charlie Croft hits in the 3rd quarter of that game. One he banked, which I doubt he was trying to, but count it. But the next one, right after this bank, he comes down in the next possession, and he pulled up deep. Just saw the defense was sagging enough and let it rip from beyond NBA range. And it it couldn't have hit those laces of the net any sweeter.
Gail from Niagara Falls.
Gail from Niagara Falls, for sure. Especially with talk about Centercourt Classic the last 2 years. I think he's got 12 in the last 2 years at the Classic.
Yeah.
He's taken two Player of the Game awards, but Trey is a supreme confidence shooter. Once he's feeling it, expect that shot's going up in the air.
Harlem can hit from 3.
Harlem can hit from 3.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, he can.
What
Dane
about
Brown.
Staples kid?
Staples, I wouldn't consider him a
top
true
3-point.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I would consider him a point guard. Brady Const from Williamsville East is one. Carlton Farmer from Salamanca is somebody who would have to be in that conversation. So Jazzy from St. Joe's. Trey can really shoot the three-pointer over at Nichols. I think Drew Bennett shoots it pretty well too, but he's been out a lot, and
Is there a
now
three-point shooter?
Now you're getting into more just like when I watch games, who do I see that can just stick threes?
Is there a three-point shooter down at Randolph?
There is.
We've
Sarai
been spoiled
Johnson.
for so many years.
Yeah, no, they've got a freshman, Sarai Johnson.
Okay.
So there's some
Have you caught?
just a few names. Barge over at Park.
Have you ever seen a kid, Jose Castro Jr.?
Yes.
He could shoot.
Yes, he can.
He's a good ball handler. The guy I was most impressed with from your Centercourt Classic was the point guard from Canisius. Out of all the, I was impressed with a lot of players, but the one kid that I really liked that kid's game. The Canisius number 11,
Christian Gill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
He was at Nichols.
yeah,
Yeah, he's going to be a nice point guard.
fantastic.
Israel Wilson, St. Mary's. There's another one that can just make shots. Now you weren't, so you wouldn't have been there at the Classic. I think he hit 5 of them early on in that game. Just feeling it.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
Any more 3 guys you want to bring up at this time?
Grayson Gailey, Brandon Singletary.
I saw the global team play on Friday at Westfield. Made the drive. One kid I was very impressed with, and you may have mentioned his name a few times. Eric Davis Jr. Phenomenal player. Had a boom. Number 5, I believe. I think that's him.
Yeah, Eric Davis.
He had a dunk. Nice dunk.
He's a muscular, strong 4 that plays the post for global, runs the floor very well, athletic strong, not a lumbering strong, like an athletic strong.
Yeah.
I don't look at him as a true big that sits there and posts up and calls for that ball, and it's not that. He's global plays fast. They keep that ball moving, and if he's cleaning anything up, it's going to get cleaned up. If the ball comes to him in a set, he can shoot the 3. He can dunk, like you said. Eric Davis is a great player.
So they got a big one tonight.
I thought of 2 more 3-point shooters. just thinking about the NO. Preston Woodworth from Medina, Blake Gerstung from Akron. Those are a couple specialists.
That Tapestry team plays Global Concepts tonight. Aren't they undefeated?
Tapestry Global. Tapestry is undefeated, yeah. So, Nichols plays Canisius. And I went back and forth. I was, wrestling with that decision tonight. Do I go watch Tapestry at Global? Because something calls me to that game. And then there's the Canisius Nichols that just has to be on the same night at the same time. So, Tapestry hosts Global again next week. So I think I'm just going to wait for that one.
Okay.
I think. And then we'll see how this one goes tonight.
Tonight, I believe Kemmer East hosts Grand Island, and it's an ALS game. So if you go to that game, they're accepting donations for ALS. So I wanted to make sure we made mention of that. Definitely not a Centercourt game of the week, but still, Grand Island, a good team and a good cause here with ALS. I know that the head coach, Danny Hannon at Kemmer East, his mother-in-law passed this past year of ALS. So that's touched a lot of families. So good for Danny and Kemmer East putting that together. And Grand Island, of course, I know she stepped away, but the former girls head coach there, that was her aunt. So I'm happy for them that they're able to do something to bring awareness to ALS, but also they're accepting donations to be used to help fight ALS. So if you're going to Kemmer East tonight, bring a few extra bucks and
make a donation.
Make a nice donation. Records versus rankings.
Okay, so this was a conversation I had recently, very recently. We're going to leave people unnamed that I had the conversations with, but they were questioning rankings, and it was questioned in the regard of how is why does a team with a losing record, why would they be ranked, or a team that's 500, or how when you've got a team with this, how do you justify, and a specific example would be like a 4-9 Niagara Falls team. How does how do they get ranked? And I say because it's rankings, not standings. Standings are standings. So your reward for your 11-2 record is just that. You get to walk around and tell everybody we're 11-2. You've won 11 games. Everyone thinks you're wonderful. All they see you do is win. Rankings, we're really trying to reflect who are the top 10 teams in order based on the results that we have seen this year. So at the very beginning of the year, you're taking your best guess at those 10, and then results start to come in. So if I start out the season and say Canisius is better than St. Joe's, and then they play and Joe's beats them, I've got to move St. Joe's ahead, right?
Yeah.
So you start with that basic concept. Now Niagara Falls, 4-9. Well, so they haven't lost to anybody that I have ranked behind. It's not like they have bad losses where you could point to someone and say, well, why they should be in. They beat Niagara Falls. Why don't you have them in? That's not happening at all. So like the teams that Niagara Falls has played locally, Health Sciences, they beat them. That's currently our number 1 ranked team, and I don't like to look past head-to-head results, but I can explain that in a second. But they lost a close game with Canisius, lost a close game with Nichols, with St. Joe's, and these are your teams up at the top. And we saw what they did when they went and played McKinley. They played Will South. They took care of Will South. But so I just made some quick notes because I looked at like teams that aren't ranked, and like, so who are you trying to make the case for that you would say you want me to just put a team in based on their record and ignore how good I know Niagara Falls is, because I know how good they are. So like Orchard Park, the last 20 years, how many wins over Niagara Falls? 0. Sweet Home, last time they beat Niagara Falls, 2007. Lockport, hasn't beat them in a decade. Same with Newport, or same with Kenmore West, same with Grand Island. It's been a decade since any of these teams have even beat Niagara Falls. Williamsville North, 2014. Now, Newport has the most recent victory over Niagara Falls. That was 2023.
Lancaster beat them how long ago?
Not Did I say Lancaster?
I don't think you did, but Lancaster. Remember they won the sectional title at Buff State. I think they beat Orchard Park. So did one of those teams beat
Lancaster beat Niagara Falls, okay, because Niagara Falls beat Orchard Park. This was 2022?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it was 2022.
I thought it was.
I think it was 2022 that Seth Joba Niagara Falls beat the Seth Joba Orchard Park team, and then got to the final, and then Lancaster beat Niagara Falls.
Okay.
No, I'm mistaken. It was 2020.
Earlier.
It was the 2020 season that happened because Lancaster won the section and did not get to go on and compete.
Because of.
Yeah, the year that Niagara Falls beat the Joba Orchard Park team, they got beat by Jamestown, and then Jamestown moved on.
Yeah.
So, no, it was 2020. 2020 Lancaster did beat Niagara Falls in a sectional championship game. If I'm going to stick a qualifier in there, which I don't really need to, I would just say that was that one-off year where Sale had stepped down after getting the team to the state Final Four after the 2019 season with Lightfoot and Bradbury. Bradbury leaves, goes to Park. Brent Gatus takes over for one season as the Falls coach. Carlos was the coach after that. And they won the section the following year in 21. Carlos has been there since. Okay, so, yeah. Records versus rankings. So, like, when I say I don't like to disregard head-to-head, so, like, I don't disregard head-to-head where it comes to the Grand Island Will North result. I have kept Grand Island a spot ahead of Will North because I watched Grand Island beat them this year. And I haven't seen anything since that would make me feel like I need to change that. Despite Niagara Falls beating Health Sciences, they then lost to Canisius, St. Joe's, and Nichols. Health Sciences beat St. Joe's and Canisius. Health Sciences deserves that one spot over Falls, even though Falls has that 1 point head-to-head win. So I will honor results until there comes a point where, you got to let it go.
Fairly obvious.
Yeah. So, and then, how much does competition, so playing competition matters? It does.
Got it.
But playing competition matters in the regard of it just gives me more to point to.
Yes.
So with St. Joe's and Canisius and Nichols, they're playing a ton of competition. They play in a great league. They play great non-league games. They're always playing competition, so you always have that to judge them against. At the same time, if I was looking at Iroquois and I said, I don't feel like Iroquois played a great schedule per se, not compared to these other teams. But if in my heart I'm looking at Iroquois and I'm saying Iroquois would beat St. Joe's, then I would rank them ahead of St. Joe's, despite them not having the competition to show it. If I believed it, I would do it. Obviously, I don't. So, does competition matter? It helps tell the story. But at the end of the day, what really matters is, are you better than somebody else? Do I believe you're better than somebody else? That's what's going to get you that ranking, And sometimes these, Sweet Home hosts Niagara Falls tomorrow. I could have had Sweet Home in just based on a standing. They've got a good winning record. They were undefeated in their league, and Niagara Falls, they're below 500. We can't rank them. That's the state ranking model, right? The state rankings say we can't give you a spot because if you're below 500, instead of just doing the right thing and ranking your best teams in order. So I would say, well, Sweet Home gets a spot in there, and then if Niagara Falls goes in and wins tomorrow at Sweet Home, it's like, I thought, that's a big upset, right? This unranked, below 500. No, it's not an upset. So that's...
What time is that game?
I think it's an 11:30 game.
We doing that game?
11:30 noon.
We're doing Sweet Home Niagara Falls tomorrow? Okay. I'm doing hockey tomorrow, right? Thank you, Mr. Calendar.
So anyway, to remind everybody, your record is your reward. If you're 11-2 then feel good about that 11-2, but that doesn't mean that you stake a claim. I remember we were talking a couple shows about the message I got where the guy was outlining all these small schools that should be in and whatever, and one of the small schools he had that should have consideration for the top 10 was Cat Little Valley. And Cat Little Valley had a really nice record, 11-2, 11-3 at the time. They just lost to Pine Valley. Pine Valley had 2 wins prior to that, and their 2 wins were against teams with a combined 5 wins on the season. So that's why they weren't ranked. It doesn't matter what your record is.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I could watch a 500 Newfane team this year and say, without reservation, that Newfane team is going to be better than the team with a great record that you want me to have in.
Yeah. The eye test.
But at this point, you've got a couple teams like Sherman and Southwestern that have played their way into rankings, and they've earned their way into rankings. It's not like Sherman. I can look at Sherman's resume and make the case of why they belong in there.
There's some really good D teams.
There are some good D teams. So Sherman's one of them, and Clymer's one of them.
Yes, they are.
So Clymer, Irv King, their coach of 33 years, is done after this year. He was an 87 graduate. Had a fine season with Clymer this year. They lost the rematch with Sherman, and they just dropped a home game to Southwestern the other night. But Sherman and Clymer are 2 of them, and then the other D school that I think is very good this year is Forestville. And the point I would make about the Ds is in Class C, you have Wilson and Global, and everybody knows about Wilson and Global in Class C. And that better be the final at JCC. It better not be a semifinal. They better end up on opposite ends of the bracket so it can be a final, because it deserves to be a final if those teams can take care of business. But I think they deserve to be largely regarded as the 2 best teams in Class C. I believe that those 3 teams we just mentioned in D, Sherman, Clymer, Forestville, I think they could lay claim to being better than anyone in C other than Global and Wilson.
Really?
I do. Yes.
Okay.
I'm saying it. Find me the team in Class C outside of Wilson and Global that you would say, what about them? Suggest one.
I can't.
Well, you could. You could look at them.
I mean, Holland, you wrote about a kid the other day. You put a kid from Holland in your Mirror Smatterings, but we haven't really talked much about Holland this year.
No.
What's his name? Gerbic?
Jude
Gerbeck
Yep.
had a couple of nice nights.
He had a career high 39 and then bested his own career high with 42. That guy, yeah.
No, when I was going down the C standings, I thought maybe Frewsburg would have a better year than what they're showing. I think they're a 500 team or a couple games under 500. And then the Holland team, I wasn't. Did they lose players? Because I think they were a tougher team last year.
Holland's on a 3-game win streak.
Okay.
But losses this season for Holland, they've lost to Springville.
Yeah.
Lost to East Aurora.
We thought Chautauqua Lake would have a much better year.
Yeah, I don't see what they don't have that signature win. They have, the loss to Springville, who's not a consideration for a top 10.
I honestly thought
Sherman is in the
Lake
top
would
10.
be 2-3 games above 500 at this point. They're not. So
Yeah, I expect a little more out of Chautauqua Lake
I
this year as
expect
well.
them to be better than what I did see actually the head coach this past weekend.
Mr. Pope?
Yep, scouting Westfield and Global. Global more, right? He'd be scouting Global
Probably.
in Westfield too, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Westfield's in his league. So.
Yeah. So I think they were playing this week. I don't know.
I-
Yeah, they are. They're playing. They played. They won. No, hang on.
Can-
Chautauqua Lake lost to Westfield on January 30th, 69-56.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you have it.
I expected more. Maybe next year.
Sherman beat Westfield.
Or maybe they'll surprise us in the playoffs.
Sherman beat Westfield. Clymer and Sherman split with each other. Forestville has 2 wins over Ellicottville this year.
You do the math.
It is what it is.
Too early to talk player of the year.
So you can talk about it. Here's my thought on as a tour. The calendar just
someone says
turned
player of the-
February.
when someone puts out player of the year, no discussion, no debate, this is the player of the year, blah, blah, with 4 weeks to go, stop.
There would have to be one person that even warranted consideration for the award to make that statement, and no one else even in the conversation. It would have
When
to be that much of a done deal. And it's not
Roddy
that.
Gale was here. Maybe.
Maybe if he would have stuck around and
Yeah.
played through a senior year, it might have been
Yeah.
like in Johnny Flynn's case. Like
Right.
there's just no one better than Johnny Flynn.
very
The
rare.
conversation's over. It got to that point with Declan Ryan when he was a senior, where it was like, I mean, he's just the player of the year. You could say it a month ahead of time. There was just nobody. But they could have lost in the semifinals, and that could have changed. So what I'm saying is, is it too early to talk? It's not too early to talk guys who could warrant consideration for it.
Right.
Guys who have done enough this season to say, I warrant consideration for that. There's not a ton of guys that have done that, but there are guys. But to start having the debate now about who should be player of the year, I think, why have the debate now? We've got all of February and the most important chunk of March to go. And if you don't think that a team winning a championship, a team getting stunned and getting eliminated from the playoffs when they didn't think they were going to, someone making an unexpected run much farther than we thought they were going to, those things could happen. So that's why the talk about who's going to get it or who should get it right now, it's too early to talk about who should get it. It's not too early to talk about players in the conversation for it, but then that just, to me, that puts pressure on people. So that's why I don't spend a lot of time even entertaining player of the year.
When this season ends, when the dust settles, you will look and see, okay, who's a junior, sophomore, even a freshman coming back that could be in the conversation next year. You have your conversation starter pieces. You can't say definitively this is the best player in Western New York. He hasn't played any, the season hasn't started.
Correct.
But people will start telling you this is the best player in Western New York before they even hit the court. They do it in football all the time. Like, football's over. We know the juniors coming back, the sophomores. We know Trent Buttles and Elijah Kimball are going to be in the conversation. But you're not just going to hand them player of the year trophy in March, in February. No, we're going to let them play through the season, check out the Monsignor Martin championship game if they're in it, and see who has the better game head-to-head and who goes further. Then you can – maybe we could talk about those two guys, but let's not leave out a kid from, West Seneca West or Lancaster or time in for that matter. Let's play the season, boys.
Go back to 2014. Sterling Taplin was probably the most talented high school basketball player in Western New York. And his team got knocked out in the semifinals at Buff State. And the team that knocked him out then got eliminated in the final by Jamestown. And then the following week, Jamestown takes on State Power Greece Athena with a stacked team that included, his name's slipping me, but he was in the NBA. They beat him, and Zach Panabianco goes for 34 points in the game. And they win this regional after Panabianco had this great final. And he had been having a great season all year, but he wasn't somebody who you might have thought, this is our player of the year. But now all of a sudden he's a sectional champion, and North is completely out of the conversation a round ago. And then he's the best player in the gym in the regional against Greece Athena, against this stacked Greece Athena team that comes in with much more talent on paper, and Jamestown out-executes them and beats them, led by young Zip, Zach Panabianco. Then they go to the state semifinal, and I think they played Union Endicott. And he scores 31 in the state semifinal. And all of a sudden, Jamestown's playing for a state championship, led by this guy with back-to-back 30 pieces. And I think they lost the state championship by 2 or 4. And he was the player of the game for Jamestown in that game. And he ended up getting player of the year.
Okay.
He earned it. But that was one where if you were having that conversation in early February, I don't know if his name would have came out of your mouth.
Yeah.
And that's why I say you just got to sit back and let everything play out. It'll all, like, if I was to say, let's start working on all Centercourt today, and I put a bunch of names on paper of who I think could possibly be fighting for it, I would overwhelm myself. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I've got 45 names. I only have 25 spots. Who am I going to cut out of this? That's why I don't even think about it, because all of a sudden March is going to go down and Buff State Week happens, and okay, it's all becoming more clear. And then the regionals happen, and all of a sudden the dust settles on the season, and those 45 names you thought you were going to have to pick between, now it looks more like 28, 29. And now there's only 4 hard decisions to make because it all took care of itself. Winning basketball games, the end of the season, how the season finishes out, it's huge. It's huge to this whole process.
Of course.
And it should be.
Cool.
Well, that's all I got.
Cool. All right. That's a wrap. Unless there's anything else you wanted to add before we go. I do want to give a shout out to...
Okay, last thing. Give your shout, and then I'll leave it on a wrap.
We couldn't get there earlier this week, but Sterling Bryant.
Starling
Bryant.
Starling with an A.
Finishing up his career. Got to coach his last game in the gym at East.
Yes.
Congratulations to him.
Stellar
career.
And it's regarded as his last game in the gym at East. And maybe it will be because they'll say that East can't host a sectional game, which I guess I didn't think of. See, I was thinking he'd have one more home game, but he won't. They'll say that East can't host a sectional game. That will have been his last game at East. Drop the ball.
But congratulations.
But yeah, oh my gosh, what a legend. What a legend. I'll have to recirculate an article I wrote about him, I believe in 2015, when he became the all-time winningest coach in the city of Buffalo. And I sat down and did a long interview with him, and I've always been a big Starling Bryant fan.
That was over 10 years ago. You were writing articles. Look at you.
Yeah.
You've done this for a while.
I got to recirculate that article and put it up because it was an article I was proud to write, and I think... like you referenced the Buffalo News article about me. Well, wait till you read this one about Starling. Wow, is that guy an accomplished, impressive man. So I'm glad you brought him up.
Mario Hall Pass, he played for Starling football.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I got to talk to him. I mean, there's so many good Starling Bryant stories from over the years.
I've met him a couple times.
Tim, can I share a couple real quick? Yeah. All right, Tim's giving me permission. So, besides just hands up in Syracuse, which you will hear at every East game, right? He's going to call a Syracuse press. He always wants hands up when he's playing zone, and he'll repeat it. Get your hands up. So, one of my favorite lines I ever heard out of Starling Bryant was when he wasn't happy with the effort he was getting out of his team, and he told his team that they were softer than wet donuts in a microwave. Loved that line. one of my favorite Starling Bryant moments was he's doing everything at the school, you know. And so at halftime, the lady who's taking the cash box, whatever, she used to bring the cash box in and leave it at the table. And so I think that what happened was some girl had the cash box, but it was sitting over in the stands.
Okay.
And at halftime, like halftime passes and the cash box never ended up at the table. The third quarter starts. He wants to know, where's the cash box? Where's the cash box? Cash box, and he's getting preoccupied. Like, why isn't the cash box over? Calls a timeout. Where the cash box at? He wants to know. The girl comes out of the crowd and brings the cash box over. He gets the cash box. He opens it up. He rifles through it, pulls out whatever it was that he was giving back to her for sitting and doing the cash box or whatever. Gets it all taken care of. And then right after that, you know, and like he was so annoyed. Like, where's the cash box? Gets that all, closes the cash box, gives it to somebody to go and put wherever it goes. Okay, and then he calls his team over. And as soon as he calls his team over, the refs, they tweet him. Timeout's over, coach. Get your team out on the floor. And just to watch how upset he was that he didn't have any time left to talk to his team, and he literally burned a whole timeout over where's the cash box at. Starling Bryant. You know, awesome guy.
Cool.
Awesome guy. Great entertainer. One of the best sideline shows. One of the best coaches. Extremely accomplished. 4 state championships. Federation title. Several league titles. Lots of sectional titles. He's the man.
A resume that's almost unparalleled.
All-time winningest coach in the city. Yeah. So to end on the wrap, I got my genre of music, and probably my favorite genre of music is rock, but I'll throw everything in once in a while. I like it all. So I threw hip hop in the rotation the other day and put on Sirius XM, and Pop Smoke is on, and you wouldn't know this song, but it's For the Night. So there's a lyric in that song. Is that the song For the Night? I guess it is, yeah. But he says, I go Ray Charles, they can't see me.
Okay.
Okay, so I just go Ray Charles, they can't see me. And I heard that, and I've heard it many, and I thought, well, that doesn't make any sense, because Ray Charles wasn't invisible, right? If you go Ray Charles, you're going blind. They can't see. No, they can still see you. You just can't see them. Think about it, right? Yep. I go Ray Charles, they can't see me. You'd have to go Invisible Man, and then they won't see you. It was just a thought.
Random smattering.
I don't even know if it's worth the smatter. I think people just chew me up for it anyway.
We're gonna end the show. We got a lot of work to do. We got to get down to business.
All right, let's go. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Tony, for making the show possible. Thanks to Western New York Athletics for hosting it, and to producer Tim for being here, and Frank for all of your...
Look for Chad tonight. Where are you? Nichols Canisius?
Nichols Canisius.
Nichols Canisius tonight.
Centercourt game of the week. We got 2 of them next week.
Yeah.
St. Joe's is at Canisius on Tuesday. Wilson is at Akron on Friday.
Nice. And then you added to the list.
We added a couple more. Yeah, we got Health Nichols that we're going to broadcast along with Iroquois Sweet Home. Yeah, got four games coming up.
Nice. All right, folks. Thanks for watching.
Yes.
WNY Athletics Centercourt Show of the Week, number 10.
See you next week.
With week 11 next week.